welcome to the Alternative Healing Center by the Lake and to the Show. And today I'll be interviewing you about your passion and also about what you recommend for people during going through these challenging times. So can you start with introducing yourself? What do you do, and what brought you here today?
Okay, thank you, Marta, for having me. It's an honor. My name is Angela. I go by Angela Argentina, and I am a yoga instructor. I guide meditations. I'm also a Reiki master, trained by this lovely lady here. And I'm the founder of Kindred Kitchens, in which I'm a vegan chef and consultant. And I am currently launching the Restaurant Evolution, which is a menu optimization program that makes everything 100% plant-based, food safe, supporting the local economy and local businesses, and also reduces impact on the planet.
Oh, that's incredible,
yeah.
Angela! Wow.
Yeah.
And you are doing all of that now with in the midst of COVID.
Yes.
And so, being vegan, can you tell us what are the benefits of being vegan during this time?
Okay. Whether or not people are vegan, just being more aware of what you're putting in your body is very important, because if we are having a health crisis, which we were even before COVID, but this is even more prevalent now, it's important that you know what you're putting in your body, because food is medicine. So it's either medicine or it's a disease. And ironically, everything that is open these days is actually the types of food that is feeding disease. It causes inflammation, it reduces your energy levels, it makes you sluggish, it makes you unhealthy. A lot of it's addictive, like a lot of the fast food. It has high fat, high salt, high sugar. There's just hidden everything in everything, lots of GMOs. So these are the types of things you should be avoiding. And whether or not you are vegan, which I obviously recommend, just being more mindful of plant-based and knowing what type of plants to be eating, because not all plants are created equal as well. So, if you can't get organic all the time, knowing the dirty dozen, which are the most contaminated.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but like spinach, for example, is like a really healthy superfood. So is kale. But it's also one of the most highly contaminated because it's got a soft surface. And when you're eating that, you're eating all the pesticides. So it's like you're kind of doing what you think is right, but you're actually eating all these poisons. And it's just so horrible that no food is uncontaminated these days, but there's little things that you can do.
So where do you buy your spinach?
I always buy organic when I buy certain things. So if anybody is interested in looking it up, it's EWG.org, and it has the dirty dozen. So those are the dirtiest 12 produce that we have that are most contaminated. And this isn't GMO, this is just pesticides.
Oh my goodness.
And then we don't even know about the GMOs. There's the little codes that tell you those things. But then there's the Clean 15. So things like avocado, things like bananas, and things that have a really hard surface that you don't eat, those are usually the safer ones. So it's like, you don't really need to buy an avocado that's, imported from this place and costs like $3 more when you're not going to be eating that skin anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
yeah.
a very good tip.
Yeah, so that also eating raw food is really good. So I did raw vegan chef training. I'm not completely raw, especially in the wintertime here in Canada, but I do eat a lot of raw foods because it's high vibrational and it's living food. So if you leave an onion on your counter, it will start to grow. Or like a potato.
Really?
I actually grew a potato from a potato, like in my apartment in Toronto. It was crazy. So I just let this spud. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I put this in the ground. So I cut it off and I watered it, and then literally I grew the most beautiful vine at my wall, and it was a potato, like coming from a potato. So, but that just goes to show the potential of life that comes from your food. And people always think about it in terms of calories. They think about it in terms of like the macronutrients. Oh, is this enough protein? Like I get that all the time. Trust me, I'm very strong and I'm not counting my proteins, I eat the rainbow because I'm eating the nutrition and I'm eating the vitamins, which comes from the colors of the food.
Which is also connected to your chakras, actually.
Yes, yeah. I'm actually making a cookbook going to be called Feed Your Chakras.
Oh my goodness,
yeah,
amazing.
We should collab on that, actually.
Yes,
boom, boom.
yes.
But yeah, so high vibrational food. And the food, the vibrations also sync up with the chakras. But if you're eating something like sprouts, that little tiny sprout has all of the nutrition from that entire plant in this tiny little thing. It's very low calorie. It doesn't fill you up. So eating stuff like that, you're really going to boost your immune potential by eating this stuff that could potentially keep growing in you. Whereas if you're eating, I don't want to say this and sound gross, but if you're eating something that's dead and it begins to rot, it doesn't have any living energy in it. It doesn't, you know what I mean? So it's actually, and that's one of the things that feeds your bad gut flora.
Yeah.
So that's another thing people need to be mindful of, is like doing stuff like probiotics. Because your gut is essentially another brain. So we have the heart brain, we have the brain, and then the gut brain. And this contains more bacteria cells than we have in our entire body. And they thrive off the things that are in all of our food supply. So off of meat, that feeds the bad bacteria. Same with wheat. Same with dairy, same with sugar, and this is like what the North American diet consists of. And so a lot of people are feeding
sugar.
And they don't even know, because it's like if you eat ketchup, which is a condiment in every single person's
not mine.
Yeah, well, high five. But ketchup, for example, has more sugar in it than ice cream. Like, that's crazy. And I mean, it's actually very simple to make ketchup too. I'll give you a recipe. So you take tomato paste, garlic powder. You can use a little onion powder in, smoked paprika. If you want any other flavors, you can do that, like herbs or whatever. Apple cider vinegar and maple syrup. And you have, or if you don't want it to be sugary at all, you can use like monk fruit or stevia. But that's like a way healthier alternative.
Oh yeah.
Very cheap, and you're not going to be consuming like 12 teaspoons of sugar in like that little bit. So yeah, those are things to be mindful of. I can just keep going, but yeah, gut health is the most important, I think, and also like eating stuff that is a very common staple, like ginger, turmeric, garlic, and onion. Those are so antimicrobial, and it's kind of funny because nobody talks about any of this stuff right now, but this is what we should be doing.
Exactly. During the COVID, I actually
let's boost our immunities.
I wanted to ask you that these days I don't hear anything about how to boost your immunity naturally.
The immune system is a conspiracy theory.
It's crazy, because that's how people actually boost their immunity with food and healthy living. So, and Angela, you were mentioning something about high vibrational food. Can you explain what else is bringing high vibrations to you?
Okay. She wants some high vibrational food. Okay, so other ways to, like, you mean aside from food?
Yeah, or should we? She interrupted.
Okay.
Should we stop? Or
it's fine. We'll just keep going.
Cut it out.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Then we'll continue. Where did you leave off?
Okay. So you said other things that are high vibrational, and I just wasn't sure what you meant.
Let's move her out.
It's okay. It's fine.
We were talking about the immune system, so we can
Yes.
continue there.
Okay.
If you'd like.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay, I can't remember what I said, but anyways, there's lots of ways to boost your immunity. You can do it by eating different foods. You can do it by doing different activities. Also, just reducing your inflammation is a very important one. And another benefit to plants is also that it's alkaline. So, disease thrives in acidic, like a body composition that's more acidic. So if you're eating more plants, naturally you are what you eat, so you're going to be more alkaline. So that's another benefit. Another benefit to it, we went back to this because you asked me in the beginning and I just kind of went off on a tangent. But you're saving the planet. It is the least impactful to be plant-based. That's also a little questionable because it's also a question of sustainability if it's traveling halfway around the world. So local and plant-based is definitely the most sustainable. Yeah. It's also the best for your health, regardless of whether or not you eat meat or whatever. Everybody should be eating more plants. Everybody needs to be eating more plants. You're never going to get sicker from eating more plants unless it's all, GMO and pesticides. Try and avoid GMO and pesticide food. I mean, there is some questions about whether GMO is bad. Like, not all GMOs necessarily are bad, like hybrids and stuff like that, which is genetic modification. But you never really know. So I just try and avoid it altogether.
And can you tell me, when did you change your diet? What was back in the days where you said, I'm going to become vegetarian? Was there one point or vegan?
Yeah. Well, okay, so I started eating more plant-based when I was younger. Like I lived on my own from an early age, and prior to that, I actually worked in restaurants. So it's funny because I could make whatever I wanted, and I gradually just started eating more plant-based. Not that I was vegetarian. I actually said, I could never be vegan because I could never give up cheese. And then lo and behold, here I'm vegan and lactose intolerant. I just didn't know it, which is an interesting story because I was a huge dairy consumer and I'm lactose intolerant. So this just goes to show how powerful the immune system really is, because I was intolerant to something, consuming it daily, and not aware of how it was affecting me because my body was constantly under stress. It was constantly inflamed because I was consuming, like, I lived off of milk, chocolate milk, and Tim Hortons coffees. But anyways, when I went to a naturopath and I just did a simple test where they had a vial and different things, different ingredients in it. And when it got to the cheese, that's when I was like, I had absolutely no strength. So it was just a really simple test. Like, they just flick you and you're trying to hold it. As soon as the cheese got in there, I was like that. So then I started taking out dairy from my diet. And now that it's been out of my diet for a long time, when it's reintroduced, like, 'cause sometimes you think you're eating vegan and somebody doesn't know, and there's, it's like, I know, because my body is like, we don't want this, we don't like this, it's not good, and I react. So the body has an ability to, tolerate stuff, but we're not necessarily thriving. We're not actually, like, we're surviving, we're not getting sick, but we're not actually thriving. And so that's one of these things. It's like, people should really try doing eliminations. Because a lot of people, eat all these things on a regular basis, and it could be, you could be under attack, kind of like my body was, but I didn't even know because I was so used, I didn't know how good it could feel without the dairy interfering. Eliminating, like, the main things that are not good for your gut, like, you can do, like, meat, and do them one at a time so that you can actually track your progress. So taking meat out for a week, seeing how your body responds. Taking sugar out for a week, seeing how your body responds, taking out dairy, or just different things, and then that's how you can actually gauge, like, is this affecting me?
I have a lot of clients who come see me with bloating, and that's also part of the inflammation. So
and turmeric is really good for that. That's my favorite. So I'll give you guys another little recipe. So in the morning, before I start my day, I like to do a lemon detox water. And that's just like a warm hot water with ginger and lemon squeezed into it, which is also, it's alkalizing. But I take it a step further now. It's like, I make it this delicious, like, I don't know, turmeric soup kind of. So I add, like, a garlic wedge and I slice it in there. Yeah, and then I add, like, you can add maple syrup or stevia and add a little turmeric. It's delicious. It's like golden.
Your breath? Is it a...
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's got lemon in there. Lemon, like, cuts that anything.
I would be
Dragon's breath tea first thing in the morning.
I would be nervous.
The garlic special.
After the garlic breath.
Yeah, but no, with the lemon, lemon's like a good cutter. So that's what I do in the morning. I also drink chocolate in the morning. I make my own chocolate.
With the raw chocolate?
Yeah, I just make it. Jim Quick says it's good for the brain, so I'm justifying it. I'm like, all right, done.
Raw chocolate with coconut milk or just with water?
What I do is I take cacao powder, and you can either use cacao butter, which I happen to have. If not, you can just use coconut oil, but cacao butter is obviously better. And then just add a little maple syrup. So you melt it, add it together, and then you drink that. And it's literally like chocolate syrup, and it's justified because it's good for your brain.
Yes, it's excellent. Actually, I started...
And walnuts are good for your brain too, so you can even put it on a walnut, do that, and then drink your dragon's breath tea.
Funny you say that, because I do the same, and I add dandy coffee. It's not coffee, but it's called dandy coffee.
Yeah, it's a tea. Yeah,
it's wonderful.
And it's got chicory root in it, which is like that coffee flavor. Yeah,
it's wonderful. And Angela, can you tell me how is this restaurant revolution going? How is it changing the restaurant industry?
Okay, well, it's launching, so it hasn't actually started. I'm talking to a bunch of people, but all of these, organizations and things that will make this way bigger than even just where I want to launch it here in Toronto. Everything is falling into place, so it's really exciting. I'm meeting people that know people in the industry and stuff like that. But what it is it's a menu optimization. So I'm going to be working with restaurants who aren't particularly healthy, they aren't particularly plant-based, and they aren't particularly eco-friendly, and really bridging the gaps in the industry to provide a supportive platform that not only saves them money, increases their market share, and also enables them to improve their service and also reduce their impact. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's not even mine. I can't take credit for it. It's been downloaded and it's been coming to me through years, but it was like, this is the time that needs to happen because people are going to be open to it now because we're being forced into styrofoam, we're being forced into all this disposable plant, and there's not even really healthy options there. And then we're also forced into like Uber Eats and all these like international companies to deliver the food that are also ripping off the restaurants. It's not fair, and like we need a solution. So this is like a gateway for people to support local, do something good for their health, and also reduce their impact, and like know what they're doing, because nobody is actually aware of like the impact that they're having with their consumption. So it's incentivizing conscious consumption through this.
And would you involve the government as well? Because
I'm pitching it to the city.
Great.
So I'll tell you actually what it is, because I haven't actually explained it per se. But the menu optimization, so it's working with the restaurant owners or the chefs, picking the best-selling items, and then veganizing it, but also making it so that it's 100% plant-based and whole foods, not like none of these like GMO, fake meats and stuff like that, because that is not, what is aligned with the health initiative. And so it's making everything 100% plant-based, also made in ghost kitchens. So it doesn't actually affect the regular restaurant's regular menu. Everything is made in this using the local ingredients. So it's also sharing the food with other restaurants. So it's reducing food waste, and the food that does is going to be processed in this whole circular system that it's literally like it works on so many levels. It's just, it needs to get out.
Wow.
And also the menu items, they're 100% plant-based. They're made as like a basic meal, so it's like not really going to cost more than $10, but it's going to incentivize people to upgrade. Like instead of like, do you want to supersize that? Do you want to optimize that? So that's kind of like changing consumer behavior and incentivizing them to do this. Oh yeah, you want extra protein? Here, we're going to give you this, and like also educating them on like, wow, you did this and you just like added like all these extra omegas and stuff, and making it like almost like a gamification to improve their health.
And like making it like a superfood.
Exactly, yeah. And so like superfood add-ons and stuff, and that way it makes it affordable.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's also other levels to this. It's it goes deep, and also because these people are going to be using the same ghost kitchens, we can also use the same eco-friendly packaging, and it's on a bulk buying platform because we're getting all these restaurants involved, so we can reduce the cost. So it's not going to be like they have to sacrifice by doing all of this, but in order to be part of this in a participating restaurant, they have to agree to reduce their impact, to be part of this movement as we evolve.
And do you think, are they willing to open to this? Have you been talking?
You know what, I don't even know so much about the restaurants, but I'm sure that they will be, because I'm going to contact the city. I've already talked to them. Restaurants Canada is kind of the board of all of them, and they need something to help. So another really cool thing about this is, you know how I talked about we're not using Uber Eats and anything like that. We don't use any non-locals. But I want it to be like an exciting food festival. So we have the world full of flavors here in Toronto, but like, you're not going to get food from a restaurant like in Scarborough. It just won't happen. So with this, because it's going to have all the restaurants and all their menus rotating, basically it can be like a food festival of international flavors that go to different areas. So it's like people can actually choose what they want and get more options. So it's increasing their accessibility and their market share, but not actually costing them any extra stuff. So they can even share, they reduce costs on rent, they reduce costs on food, they're reducing their food waste. Like it's literally been channeled. I just have to execute this. So.
And Angela, if you could get some help from our viewers, because our Om show is becoming very popular, what would you say if anybody wants to reach out to help this movement?
Okay, well,
who are you looking for? What kind of investors? And what is it that you're maybe needing?
I need a lot of help right now because it's literally just me. I've made my website, which is kindredkitchens.ca. I will probably get an extra one for the Restaurant Evolution, but my business is Kindred Kitchens, so I just updated it. I'm also available to chat. You can email me at info@kindredkitchens.ca. My phone number is on the website. My Instagram is kindred_kitchens. But I'm looking for, I guess, help. Yeah, I'm looking for investors and stuff like that.
Government officials who can make this sort of official.
Yes, I have people in mind. Like I've spoken to Allergy Canada. I've spoken to the city. I want to get in touch with Restaurants Canada. But even if you know restaurants, maybe you could recommend this to them.
Or maybe if a shark is watching from the
Shark Tank. If any sharks want to come and give me $1 million, it's all going towards this.
Well, that is an incredible movement,
Thank you.
Angela, and I'm so proud of you. And beside, you know, the food and everything that you're doing, what other healing do you do for yourself or for the community, or how have you been surviving these times and keeping healthy and beautiful?
I've been thriving, actually. So one thing I don't do is I don't watch the news because it's all propaganda and fear-mongering. I do things to raise my vibration and to keep myself positive. I've been really getting into mantras and singing. That is a really good way to raise your vibration. And because just, for example, fear is like the lowest vibrational. It's if you're operating in a place of fear, you're like survival mode. This is root chakra. You're facing insecurity. You don't have like your basic needs being, you know, there's no security of food, and that's where most people are because they feel like they're disempowered. And the biggest thing that's going to drive that is listening to the news. What I do is I focus on spending my time around people who make you feel good, doing things that you love and you're passionate about, like moving your body raises your vibration. Singing gets you into the higher chakras, the throat chakra, connecting that to the heart, and you're channeling source energy, and you're using words that have a very powerful vibration because everything's energy. So using that and putting that out, it's like you are a channel for that divine. So I'm really into that. I do a lot of the meditation bowl. I meditate a lot. And I'm also in yoga teacher training. Yeah, I'm doing another yoga teacher training, so I'm getting my 500. I'm at 300 hours right now, but that's really nice. A lot of pranayama too, so part of it in the morning, I wake up and my routine is I do the Wim Hof breathing, which I've never really done. I do other types of breathing normally, but do you know who he is?
Yes, I heard about him.
Yeah, he's remarkable. But it's really cool how he can use the breath and does it so scientifically to actually alter, you know, your chemical makeup. I think that's really fascinating. So I do his breathing in the morning before I get out of bed.
And do you do classes online? You teach a couple classes?
I do, not as much, but I've been getting more requests. So I just started a Patreon account. It's Angela Argentina if you want to join. And yeah, I do that, and it's more like meditation that I do guiding right now, but I'm going to start doing more yoga.
That's excellent. And do you have any other message for the viewers today?
The healing lies within.
Yes.
That's your line.
Yes,
well, just like everything seems really uncertain right now, but the thing is we create our reality. And so, you know, what you choose to surround yourself with, the messages that you receive and you put out there are so important to your well-being. I completely cut myself off because I believe a lot of this stuff is toxic, and it doesn't have to be. Like, we live in a toxic world, but rather than fight the problem or fear it, I focused on the solution. I just took my energy away from that, and I'm like, how can we solve these problems? Because you're either focusing on it or you're creating the new. So right now, this is our chance to create the new earth. And when I shifted my energy towards that, all of these beautiful opportunities started attracting to me, because this is like literally like the rising of human consciousness. And you're either going to stay here in like this fear-based, you know, survival mode where we're too afraid to do things, and we're operating out of a place of like, you know, protection. This is for our safety. Like, we're in a place of avoidance, right? Rather than going to what it is we want to do. So are we going to avoid things out of a potential risk? Or are we going to take this and be like, this doesn't work, it's broken, it's destructive, it's unsustainable, let's take that and flip the script. So that's actually one of the pages in my document. It's like, flip the script, and I list all these things that are wrong, and then it's like, or this. But that's really what it is. It's like, are you running away, or are you running to?
A very good point, Angela. Yes, and putting out our vibrations, and also, you know, like how we interact with our family and friends during this time, and all of that really is quite powerful. And Angela, speaking of that, is there something you could recommend to people who are working from home, sort of like a chair yoga that they can quickly do during their lunchtime?
For sure. Okay, so if you're sitting down, there actually is a whole new condition now of slugged shoulders, because everyone's on their phone all the time. So if you're sitting in a chair, you know, many people are working and stuff at home, doing your shoulders, so just taking a moment and just rolling your shoulders back. You can even have your hands resting there. Little shoulder rolls go both ways. Doing a shoulder opening, so just bring your hands behind you. You can, here, I'll actually rotate my chair here.
Yes, for sure.
And you can just interlock the fingers like that and just notice that I'm lifting up my chest. I actually did a really hard yoga class yesterday, so I'm sore. So this is actually, this is good. I'm feeling it. And so notice, like, as I'm lifting, I inhale and I lift through the chest and I lift my arms up. Okay, and another one is to lengthen the whole spine. So just make sure you don't hit your head on your desk as you fold over, but just fold yourself down, and you can grab behind your legs, but this just really lengthens out all the vertebrae in your spine. That's a good one. Another one for opening up the shoulders is eagle arms. So you're gonna grab your arms, palms face, and our elbows connect, so now my palms are pointing away, and I'm gonna keep them pointing away as I draw them together. Now, some people may not have as much shoulder flexibility as me, and if this is where you are, that's fine. Maybe you can grab on like that. If you can interlock the fingers, this is a really good one. So you might already feel an opening. Oh, hi.
Come, Daisy, come.
Oh, hi.
She wants to be perfect.
Okay, and what we do is we can bring the arms up, and then bring it forward, rolling over. Okay. Oi, so much love. You know, one of the things you can do is just don't deal with people and just deal with dogs.
Or, you know, this is a good representation of working from home.
Exactly.
And having your children or pets up, which is a great time to connect with them, actually. Just giving them a hug, you know.
Yeah. And so make sure you do this on the other side, okay? And I'm just gonna get Daisy to go over to you now.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do, another thing is a spinal twist, because a lot of people get a lot of pain or just stiffness in here, the lower sacrum, which is like where like the belt buckle would be. So this is my favorite one to do on the ground, but I'll do a chair pose for you. So just cross your legs. Can you see my legs? There we go. Okay, so with the legs crossed, we're gonna take the whatever leg is on top, the opposite arm. So you're gonna inhale it up. And as you exhale, you're going to bring it across the body to the outside of that opposite thigh. So right arm to left thigh, and then inhale up with the left. And as I exhale, I open up to the back, and I kind of maybe even rotate this, but you're going to feel a nice twist here, opens up the hip. It also gets a nice twist, opening up the meridians. And just hold that, you know, for 3 deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, feeling yourself expanding in the chest, and exhaling. So doing 3 rounds like that, and then you can always just shuffle your legs to reset the hips, and then we do the same. So this time my right crosses over the left, inhale left arm up, exhale bring it down to the outside of the right thigh, inhale right arm comes up, and as I exhale I twist around, and I can even push, you know, into this, opening up that hip a little bit more, breathing here. Settling into the pose. Beautiful.
And that is great. You know, even if you don't have a full hour for a regular yoga class, you can just do some stretches during that.
Totally. And I'll give you one more. That's a really easy one. So it's just like a cat-cow, but instead of being on your hands and knees, you can just rest your hands on your knees and inhale. So arching, lifting up through the chest, lifting up through the neck. And as you exhale, it pushes back. Rounding through the spine, really opening up, lengthening up through the vertebrae and tucking the tummy in. And inhaling. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. So that's just some very basic ones that you can do, and that's really good just to get, like, you know, the main area. Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, if you are working from home, make sure to go for a walk.
Exactly. Get fresh air.
Get some fresh air.
Yeah. And smile at people.
Yes.
Laughing also boosts immunity.
Yeah, laughter yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that is a type of yoga. Yes. So.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. And it's also by us tuning into the universe
know,
that we
totally
met
twinned, and we didn't even try.
That is all part of being in sync in this world. And thank you so much for the tips and resources. They are quite powerful, and thank you for sharing those with us. And Daisy very much enjoyed your presentation as well. And we look forward to seeing you again in our center. And Angela can be booked also for a Reiki session because she's one of my masters. And so we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you for having me.
It was so nice to see you. Namaste.